everyone, it's Jen at Stamp Silly, and today I have a fun project to share with you. We are going to use some deco foil on our cards today. Okay, so you've probably seen foiling all over the place because it's very, very trendy right now. And I'm going to share with you how to use your stamped images and the foil together without using a heat transfer method. In other words, without using a Minc machine or a laminating machine. Okay, so we're just going to go stamped image to foiling. And I want to share with you a couple of things. When you get your foil, it comes in these great little tubes, and you just need to pop them open. That one hasn't been opened yet. I'm going to open one that has been. And these sheets of foil are super, super thin. You want to be fairly careful with them. They come 5 sheets to a roll or to a tube. They're very thin though, so sometimes it may look like you don't have 5 sheets in there, but you really do. This one is a turquoise color, and I've actually already used a full sheet. But the sheets are our about, I want to say they're 6 by 12, maybe, or 6 by 9. I'm not quite sure. 6 by 12. So you can get a lot of use out of them, and I'm going to show you some tips on that also. So what I do is I just store it, roll it back up, store it back in the tube. In fact, I put all my little scraps back in there because, believe it or not, these little scraps will come in handy. Don't throw them away. Why would we ever throw anything away? We hoard. We're paper crafters. Okay, so let me show you how to do this really quickly. It's really quite simple and quite fun. So I'm going to start with a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock here. And I've got the Botanicals for You stamp set. This is one of our Celebration stamp sets. So remember, this is a free stamp set with a $50 purchase. Okay, I'm going to mount that on my clear black. And then I'm going to stamp this in a fairly light color. So I'm using Smoky Slate. And I'm going to ink that up fairly well. It's not going to matter completely. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp this on my project. And my piece of Bermuda Bay is larger than what I really need, but I can cut that down later. Okay, so here's the trick. We're going to use a two-way glue pen, and because of the shape of the two-way glue pen, it kind of matches the print or the text in this image. So what I'm going to do is just simply trace the image that I've stamped. So really this is going to work, this technique here is going to work best with broad images or full images. You're not going to want to do this with a fine image, you know, like these little phrases. That's not going to work because this is so broad. Okay, so we're going to apply the glue all over the image, and I'm going to speed up the video so that you don't have to sit here and watch me apply this glue. We want the glue to dry, so it doesn't matter how fast I go here. The glue needs to dry before we do anything further. Okay, so I'm going to speed this up, and you guys can catch up with me on the flip side. Okay, now I have that image all covered, and I'm just going to wait for it to dry here real quick. It's not going to take too long because some of this stuff should already be dry, but some places there's a little bit thicker amounts of glue, so we want that to dry just a little bit. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab a piece of foil, and for this one I'm going to use the pink melon foil. You can see I've already tested this and it works wonderfully. Okay, so I'm just going to hopefully dry this. I can see still a few spots that are needing to dry just a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to say that's good though. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay my foil on top of my image. You want to lay your foil with the plain side down, or it's typically a silver side, white, silver, and you want the pretty color side up because that's going to be what you see. Okay, so I'm going to place this on top of my image, and I'm just lightly rubbing over the top of it. Okay, you don't want to rub too hard because it will kind of damage the foil. Now, I'm going to bring in my Big Shot. Let me zoom this out just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to place my image on top of my cutting mat, and then because my cutting mats are pretty well used, I'm going to place a piece of copy paper over the top of my card front, just so I don't get any of those marks from my Big Shot onto my project. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this through the Big Shot, just like this. It's all there is to it. And then, here's what we end up with. I'll get all this out of my way. Okay, then all you need to do, I'm going to zoom back in so you can see a little bit better. What we need to do then is pull this up. Isn't that awesome? So anywhere we've had glue, the foiling stays. Alright, isn't that cool? So, and it's just so much shinier than if you were to heat emboss it. I wish I had this color embossing powder because I would compare for you how much shinier that is. It is beautiful. Now, here is the card that I've completed with that. So, it's just a plain, fairly plain card, but I think it's so pretty, and I have my niece in mind when I made this card. So just some bright, fun, girly colors with a zebra background there. The designer series paper is from the Going Wild designer series paper stack. I will link below in the description all the products that I've used for these cards. Okay, so, but I just think that foiling is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And it's so easy. That's all you need is your two-way glue pen and some foil. I'll also have linked down below the foil that I've used. I have another sample here. I've been playing with this a lot, let me tell you. Here's using that same pink melon foil. And this is the Hello stamp set. That's also a Celebration stamp set, but I like that wide font because the two-way glue pen works really well with that. And then I've just stamped the Timeless Texture back behind it and used some sequins that were left over from one of the Stampin' Up! Card kits. Okay, so there's that. I have one more way that we can do this. Okay, this one is super easy. So you're just going to need your tape runner, your tear and tape. And so I'm just going to run this across my card, and I'm going to try and get this as straight as possible because that might matter. I don't know. Okay, so just run that across there and cut off the edges. Like that. Alright, and then you're going to pull off the release paper. Well, first I'm going to cut myself a piece of foil. So here I've got some gold foil. The cardstock I'm using here is Watermelon Wonder. And so I'm just going to cut a thin strip of this foil. This stuff, I tell you, is shiny, but it's so thin you could lose it. Okay, so now I'm just going to peel back my release paper and put on the strip of gold foil. Oops. Okay, and I'm just going to rub it real lightly, and I'm going to run that through the Big Shot. Again, I'm going to place a piece of copy paper over the top just so that I don't ruin the project with all the cut marks on my cutting pad. I didn't zoom back out, sorry guys. So you guys get the gist of this though. I have tried to just burnish the foil onto the sticky strip or the two-way glue pen without using the Big Shot. I get much better results using the Big Shot. I don't know why. It does make a difference though. So now I'm going to pull that up. Oops. There we go. And there I have this uber cool strip of gold foil, and it's so beautiful. It's so shiny and sparkly. I just love it. Okay, I wish I had samples of what it looks like when you just use your finger, but it kind of takes the shine out of the foil. It makes it really muted and scratchy looking, so that's why I like using the Big Shot, just to run it through. Here's a couple samples that I did using the tear and tape. So there's that. And underneath here I've got the heart stamped. I thought that was pretty cute. I think next time if I were to redo it, I'd probably flip-flop those. But that's just my own opinion, okay? And here I used the gold foiling as a border for the card. And I thought that was really fun too. So anyway, I hope you guys will give this a shot. Give it a try with your with some foiling and your stamped images. If you've got these wide stamped images, some of the wide flowers that we have would be gorgeous with this foil over the top. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if so, give me a thumbs up so that I know that this is something you liked. Also, watch for me in the next day or two, because I will show you another technique using the foil and your stamps. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.